Okay, in this video we're going to do Programming Concepts Part 2, Data Types in JavaScript. Number, string, boolean, array, and object. Okay, focusing on the first three mostly. Okay, so we'll do datatypes.js, and we'll put something in here. So var x equals 5, var y equals 5, var z equals true, var w equals brackets, and then I'm going to print out type of x. X is a plus this plus value plus x. Alright. So what this should print is the text x is a, and then this is an expression it's going to evaluate. Type of is a keyword function in JavaScript that will tell us the type of x, and what do you think it will say? If the choices are number, string, boolean, array, and object. Okay, pause. Okay, so this should give us the type, and then we should have the value. So that was called data types. X is a number with value 5, and now if we want to do that for y, I'll just change all those x's to y's. Y is a string. So in quotes means number, not in quotes means string. Or in quotes, it'll try to evaluate it. Alright, what is the type of z? Z is a and we can go ahead and add in W as well. Okay, so Z is a boolean and W is an object. So another name for an array. So arrays are actually objects. Object is basically something that's not one of these three. And we can put in here 1, 2, 3. So W is the array. It has the values 1, 2, 3 inside of it. We should put over here in our notes. Let's see, data types array. So string is text. Number, so not evaluated. So even if I have the number 5 here inside of quotes, it's not going to treat it like a number when it's a string. Array is a list of items. I could do here, so working with arrays, if I do W bracket 1, so the square brackets are used for dealing with arrays. Okay, so W is 1, 2, 3. Now if I do W bracket 1, that's supposed to get one item out. And which one do you think it will get, and what will be the type? Probably the type should be number, because these are all numbers. So W bracket 1 is a number, and it gave back 2. The reason is because in arrays we start counting at 0. So if I do W bracket 0, it'll get the first item. Note, start indexing at 0. So that means this 1 is the 0th item, the 2 is the 1th, and 3 is the 2th. And we can actually do different data types inside of the array. So now bracket 0 is a string and the value is hello. In many programming languages, an array has to all be the same type. In JavaScript, they don't be. They don't have to. Array is a list of items. In JavaScript, they can be different types in the same array. And we already saw that an array is really of type object. Okay, now let's look at what we would get if we do each of these. So // is a comment if you haven't figured that out yet. It doesn't get evaluated. So let's do x plus x. Okay, so I have the value x plus x that's going to be printed here. What is the type of it? And so if x is 5, x plus x should be 10. Okay, so here we have x plus x is a number with value 10. Now what if we do it for y? Y plus y. Y is a string, so y plus y probably should be a string as well. And what will we get if we add two strings? There's two basic possibilities. One is it's going to use it as a number, it will convert it to a number and give us 10. If it doesn't convert it to a number, what's a logical thing to do with strings if you put a plus in between them? So y plus y is 55, which is really the string 55. So plus with strings just concatenates, it just puts them together. So data types, string, text, or something. In single quotes, double quotes, use plus to concatenate. And that's a vocabulary word that just means put together end to end. Okay, so that's what plus does for strings. What about if we try to do plus for Boolean? So either it's going to do something with the value true, or it's going to give an error. Okay, z plus z is a number now. It was Boolean, now it's a number. So what's happening here is z plus z, so this is true plus true, and that's not actually something that makes really any sense in terms of true or false, adding those. So what it does is it converts it to numbers. JavaScript does this, and true is the number 1 if we're converting from a Boolean, from something that's true or false, into a number. And that's 2. So that's what's happening here. So we'll say, where is this? Boolean is true or false. When converted to number, true is 1 and false is 0. So sometimes you'll see on electric switches or surge strips, the switch will have a 1 or a 0, 1 for on, 0 for off. In programming, 1 is true, 0 is false. Okay? So the plus is the reason that it's doing the conversion. It converts to integer on its own. Alright, what about if we try to do two arrays? An array plus an array. Either there will be an error or it'll do something reasonable. So now this array is hello, 2, 3 hello, 2, 3. So what that did was so we had 3 items, now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it just basically put this as next to each other, and then the two, so let's see, I'll just do it right here. So it's like we did hello 2 3 hello 2 3, but then, so that would be an array with 6 items, but it actually merged these two, the first of the second set and the last of the first set. Okay. Let's see, data types. For numbers, we have all the arithmetic operations. So plus, minus, times, and divide, those do what you would expect. Adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing. Percent is for remainder. So let's see, console.log x, let's do x mod 2 is okay, so x has the value 5. What this means is divide by 2, and what is the remainder? Should be 1. X mod 2 is 1. Alright, and the other ones are what you would expect. These ones here, it does the operation and saves it. So I could do x times equals 5. That's the same as, it's really a shorthand for the statement x equals x times 5. So this, before we run the statement, x is 5. If we do, or sorry, let's do 6 here. Okay, so x is 5 before we run this. You multiply by 6, you get 30, and then save it. So we should get 30 here. Okay, now x is 30. Now what if we do console.log, let's see, we'll do x mod equal, say, 7. Shorthand for x equals x mod 7. And what the mod is divide by 7. What is the remainder? Okay, so 30 divided by 7, you would get 28 with a remainder of 2. Okay, and we have the same thing with the equal assignment with times, so multiplication, subtraction. Let's see, this should be addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and the remainder. Okay, so those are things that we can do with numbers, arithmetic. Things that we can do with strings is concatenate. There's other stuff, we won't worry about it right yet. Something that happened here, this type of, and this X, Y, Z, W, those all printed okay, there was no error. Really what we're thinking about here is this is a string, and we want to add something to a string. It really only makes sense if we're talking about two strings and adding them together. So just for this part here, so we have a number and a string, and adding strings would just be putting them together, which is what the output looked like. X is a number with value 5. JavaScript will automatically convert if it looks like really want to use this as a string, it'll convert it to a string. So what X is a number, it has some value here. So here it has some value 2. It'll give the string version of that. Okay, so we have our arithmetic. Boolean operators. So we can do console.log if we do z, let's see, z is true. What if we do not z? So the exclamation point, if we have a Boolean value, if we have a true or false, then the exclamation point does the opposite. That's called not. So if Z is true, not Z should be false. And let's say that we're going to have not Z, the expression not Z and true. So what will that give? Okay, the not comes first. It'll do the not. So not Z, we already saw, was false. And this double ampersand means and. So if we have false and true, what should the value be? In programming, we would evaluate this to just say the whole thing will only be true if both parts are true. That's the definition of and in programming. So the whole thing is true only if both parts are true. Let's see. Okay, so not Z is false, false and true is false. I want to say is here. So that's the double ampersand. If we do the double bar, which is with shift and the key above your enter, so this would be false or true. And in programming, the or is defined to be true if either part is true. Okay, so the whole thing is going to be true if either side or both is true. So false and true is false, true or true is true. Pause. Okay, so we have Boolean values. We can do and or and not, and we'll see more of that, how we use that in the part about loops and condition statements, which we don't have on here yet. Condition statement and loops. So that'll be in another video where we actually use these and/ors and nots. Arrays. So the thing that we can do with arrays is we can change values and we can get values out. So here we got a value out. And we can change that value. So we can say w bracket 0 plus equals world. Okay, so what that should do, that's shorthand for w bracket 0 equals w bracket 0 plus world. Okay, so what's in there first is hello. Hello plus world is hello world, and then store it back in there. We could also do w bracket 1 equals 5, w bracket 2 equals false. Okay, and then let's just print all of w after we do that. Okay, so hello world, 5 and false. All right, those are some basic things. There's more that we can do with each of these types, but those are the basics. Good enough for now. We'll do our quiz question and answer. Someone who has trouble with the English language is Amelia Bedelia, spelled correctly. All right, so the answer will be Amelia Bedelia. And if you haven't heard of that, it's a kid's book. It's mildly amusing. You can look it up.